I think taking profits this cycle is going to be a huge.
Dealing with some tech issues, guys. I apologize about this. Let's see if I can get this video rocking and rolling here. My goodness, guys. I appreciate your patience here. Just give me one moment.
I think taking profits this cycle is going to be a huge focus of mine and even my content. So, we're going to dig into that in terms of SUI alone. But going over to XRP, I want to talk about something. It's at the flip side of what we just talked about for SUI. SUI, in terms of the PMI, is at its first bull market, right? It's not had a bull market yet. It just hasn't. Well, XRP, I'm excited about, not because I'm an XRP.
I don't know what's going on with this video, guys. So we're just going to start this show. Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news related channel. And believe me, we're going to play that groundbreaking clip later on in the episode. But I wanted to start off with some of the exciting price action that we're witnessing this morning. Bitcoin trading back above $93,800 today. Ethereum is $31.82. We have XRP not just above $2, but above $2.18 this morning. And as you guys can tell, looking at the 1 hour chart, it has been a very exciting weekend for the XRP community. After bottoming out at these lows on Christmas at about $1.80, it has been nothing but bullish momentum. And what we're going to be covering during today's episode is how my belief is we are on the precipice of a massive alt season where XRP is taking center stage. We're also going to show you guys some live updates out of the United States government because Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has made one thing absolutely clear. The United States is in the process of becoming the crypto capital of the world, and that is going to benefit many of the projects that we talk about here every single day, starting once again with XRP. So we already got over 1,200 live listeners here joining us. If you're excited and you enjoy this content, show us some love. Smash that like button. I want to give a massive thank you and shout out to each and every single one of you. And I do apologize about the tech issues this morning. My laptop's been giving me a hard time. If we see $4 or $5 XRP, I'm upgrading from this MacBook, my friends. But with that being said, let's start diving into some of the exciting updates that we have prepared. As this morning, the XRP ETFs were breaking records. And we're talking about $20 million in just the first 2 hours of trading for the XRP ETFs. There was even one of our listeners, shout out to this person, they're probably out there watching, who tagged me in a post where XRP had a glitch on the ETF tracker and it showed $250 million worth of volume in just the last couple of hours. The website then went down. They had the ETF numbers from yesterday. So I'm assuming it's a tech issue. But one thing we know for sure when it comes to those glitches, for some reason, it is always XRP. I don't know why. That's just the way it is, my friends. But the reality is, what's exciting about what's happening right now for crypto investors is that it's looking like we created a local bottom back in late 2025. While everybody was calling for a bear market, we could be in the process of getting what's called a dead cat bounce as well. So I'm going to cover that. But it's looking extremely unlikely, especially for projects like XRP. We had sentiment at an all-time low. We had price action really at an all-time low for a lot of these altcoins. And now we've bottomed out. Bitcoin is once again leading that charge, taking us back towards $94,000, $95,000. And we're going to get into a brand new clip from Raoul Pal that I have prepared as well, where he starts talking about the Clarity Act and how he worked hand in hand with Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary that I had just referenced, in bringing digital asset innovation into the United States government. This is Raoul Pal talking about the Treasury Secretary bringing digital assets into what the U.S. government is doing today. Could not be more excited to show you guys this update, to break down a lot of this content. We do already have 1,600 live listeners. One's in chat if you're bullish. Two's in chat if you think we are in a bear market. I'm going to be breaking that down all throughout today's episode, starting with the topic that I wanted to cover right here. And the title for today's episode is XRP flashes a massive bullish signal. And that is the video that I'm going to kick off today's episode with a video from our friend Dan Gambardello, I believe is how you pronounce his name, where he talks about the massive setup that has been created for XRP in 2026. And the best part about this, guys, he doesn't even own the token. He says that in this video. He's like, I don't own the token. I have no exposure here. When I'm looking at this data objectively, XRP is gearing up for a massive move in early 2026. And we're going to break down the price targets that he referenced here as well, because again, these are the price targets that I've been sharing here on both Good Morning and Good Evening Crypto for the better half of 2 years. 4, 6, 8, if we're lucky, 12. That's where I believe this market is headed over the next couple of years. And I see a lot of ones in chat. There's a lot of people out there who are seeing what I'm seeing. Sentiment and price action at an all-time low. That means opportunity in the crypto space is at an all-time high. At least typically, that's the correlation that we see. And it looks like this video is finally loaded, gearing up, ready to be played. We got over 1,100 people watching on YouTube. If you enjoy these types of videos, show some love, smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel. We did just pass 40,000 subscribers this week. Need to give a massive shout out to each and every single one of you. Me and Johnny, we brag about our community all the time. You guys and girls are the best community in all of crypto. And with that being said, we're going to dive into this brand new video right here. XRP just created a massive bullish structure for 2026. Here it is.
I think taking profits this cycle is going to be a huge focus of mine and even my content. So, we're going to dig into that in terms of SUI alone. But going over to XRP, I want to talk about something. It's at the flip side of what we just talked about for SUI. SUI, in terms of the PMI, is at its first bull market, right? It's not had a bull market yet. It just hasn't. Well, XRP, I'm excited about, not because I'm an XRP holder, because I'm really not. But I know there are a ton of XRP holders. I have a buddy that's always texting me about XRP. And what I'm excited about is if we get expansion in terms of the PMI, again, years of contraction, everybody. If this chart starts expanding sometime into this year, what's XRP going to do? Because last time we got expansion, and by the way, if you're thinking of, well, when did QT end last cycle? It was back here, right? End of August or end of July 2019. We got continued kind of compression on the PMI, and then boom, there's the PMI right here. There's XRP. There's COVID, and then there's XRP's bull market with the expansion. You can just see XRP got the bull market with expansion, but it failed to break the previous all-time high. Even still, I mean, I know XRP has tested that area. We've not really seen XRP break the all-time high from all the way back here in 2018. We get expansion, everybody. I just think XRP is going to do something really special. And I say that as being somebody that's not even holding XRP. And when I say special, first cycle 1618 is a target of mine, $5.30. The third cycle higher high is at 836. I just think those numbers are just so very realistically in play for XRP. And right now it's sitting at around 214. But it's really this business cycle that we're getting ready to go into that I think is interesting for the XRP story.
And this is why I'm so excited, because when I'm looking at the XRP price chart and I'm thinking about the catalysts that are going to come in 2026, the price targets that he shared, I believe are extremely realistic. And live chat, I want to hear from you guys as well. One's in chat if you believe we get to $8.30, which is his higher price target in 2026. Two's in chat if you think we stay below that number. Now, I think we're at a pivotal point for the XRP price chart. We're also at a pivotal point for Bitcoin. And what do we know for sure? Bitcoin is going to drive the price action for many of our favorite altcoins. If we want to see XRP above $3, two major things need to happen. One, and not above $3, let's go above $5 here. Number one, the Clarity Act needs to get passed in 2026. Number two, Bitcoin needs to be outperforming. Bitcoin needs to be creating brand new all-time highs. Even if it's just $135,000 to $140,000, that is more than enough momentum to drive many of these altcoins up into brand new all-time highs. And I love what he said at the beginning of the video. Projects like Solana, projects like Ethereum, they barely passed their 2021 all-time highs here in 2025. That is pent-up demand. And what does that go to show? We never got the alt season that everybody thought would occur in 2025. And the reason is what I've been explaining over these last few weeks. The ISM, the business cycle, the restructuring of the debt, all of these narratives, which don't directly correlate to crypto, are factoring into the price action that we're witnessing today. Do you guys think it's a coincidence that the moment the Fed begins quantitative easing as opposed to quantitative tightening in late December, early January, the crypto market starts entering this euphoric moment? I do not. And the reason for that is what Johnny Krypto explained in our video this weekend, if you guys were able to watch that, where he said these banks are getting extra capital. and their responsibility is to grow that capital. Well, logically, they're going to be allocating 5, 10, 15% into digital assets. And that is where XRP can have this massive advantage over every other project, because inside the United States, XRP is the largest digital asset founded within our borders. That is going to become a massive narrative later on in the Trump administration. And I've been standing by that for a really long time. Now, somebody asked me, how many members are we now at? We are at 283 members of the Good Evening Crypto community. Wanted to make sure I give a special shout out and thank you to each and every single member, as well as just our daily listeners, guys. You don't have to become a member. It's totally optional, but we are greatly appreciative of all the people who supported us. We did already pass over 350 likes on today's episode. If you're enjoying this content and you're one of the people watching on YouTube, smash that like button, let your thoughts or comment your thoughts in chat so we can incorporate them into today's episode. And with that being said, here's the brand new video of Raoul Pal that I was talking about. Now, why is this video so interesting? He's talking about what is going to drive the crypto market in 2026. And a lot of it has to do with what I talked about, a restructuring of the debt cycle, Wall Street adopting digital assets.
From when I first got into the space,
Excuse me,
we said
guys.
we were going to front run.
My computer is lagging this morning, so I'm just going to have to deal with that, I guess. But what he's talking about is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent as well, playing a key role behind the scenes in shaping crypto regulation and bringing a lot of these technologies to TradFi. Raoul says that the crypto market structure bill will pass and massive banks will start promoting Bitcoin. And we can extend this to other topics. This is a Bitcoin account that actually posted this video. Here's why it matters. Regulatory clarity equals institutional entry. Banks are stacking Bitcoin, and we're going to apply this to other altcoins, which means more liquidity and more legitimacy. They also have a mutual incentive to watch the price increase going forward. Retail follows institutions and adoption accelerates. 2026 isn't just another year. It's the year that banks embrace. This guy said Bitcoin. I'm going to say crypto. But with that being said, here's the brand new clip.
From when I first got into the space, we said we were going to front run Wall Street. That was 2013. We've always said it, and here they are. When I've been speaking to the sovereign wealth funds here this week, and they've all got crypto on in their books now, and they're openly talking.
Well, guys, they do have a little bit of background music that I'm going to have to be very careful for, so I'll have to kind of commentate as we go through this clip. But what he said here is that banks are starting to allocate the exact companies that were adversaries, that were suppressing the industry. They're now getting exposure to the industry. But let's continue.
About their allocations? And not only that, but the Treasury Secretary of the United States, who was an ex-macro hedge fund manager, friend of mine, he openly talks about how important it is. We've got Donald Trump talking about it. We've got everybody talking about it. We've got every financial institution building on stablecoin rails. We've got once the Clarity Act is passed, then all of the banks will start building out their crypto rails for everything. And if you speak to everybody, the banks need the clarity. The asset managers need the clarity. The corporations need the clarity. Everyone needs the clarity of the Clarity Act. Once you get it, it's the green line. They're all waiting for what exactly is, which things are securities, which are not, how does it all work? And once you've got it, we've got a roadmap. And everybody wants to go. Everybody wants to build on these rails, particularly the financial system, because it's so efficient and so fast to do things that they're incentivized to do it.
And I think what's great about this, guys, is he called it, we're going to have the rules of the road. That's the way that I would describe it as well. What's happening here with the Clarity Act is that companies are now going to know how to operate in the blockchain space. They're going to have rules. They're going to have guidelines. And I think for retail investors and people like ourselves, we're finally going to get some exciting price appreciation in the crypto space. I've been very transparent about this the last few days. 2024 was a massively disappointing year from a price action standpoint. Now, I think there were probably some people out there who operated correctly. They took profit in July. Maybe they took profit last December. They bought the lows. They sold the highs. Those people are outliers and those people are anomalies. Across the board, what retail investors typically do is they buy these assets and they hold them for years, right? So anybody who bought these assets in November or December of 2024 and said it's a sure thing that these prices are going to increase over the next year, they were wrong. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people were hurt in the process because of those high expectations. But here's the upside. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel for not just Bitcoin investors or crypto investors overall, but for assets in general. 2026, we have the debt cycle, we have the business cycle, we have an election, and we have a pro-crypto president that's going to do everything he can to increase the values of these markets so that he can take credit for that during the election cycle, which is set to occur towards the back end of this year. These are all narratives that work in favor of people like ourselves. And the most important thing that our listeners should understand is that we're looking at an undervalued market today. Typically, times like we went through in December, and I tried to share this throughout the entire month of December, guys. Typically, we look back and we say, why didn't we buy more? I think that's what we're going to go through. Back in 2023, when we were at a bear market low, FTX had just collapsed. Bitcoin was about $16,000, $17,000. I was watching the crypto market and everybody was saying Bitcoin is going sub 10. And what happened over this last couple of weeks? We were at $86,000, $85,000. Everybody was saying $74,000 Bitcoin. We didn't get there. So a lot of people who were waiting to place these leverage trades, they were wiped out of the market due to the volatility. And then you had some of these long-term bulls who just bought the asset and held for a year. They got crushed as well. So the light at the end of the tunnel is this is an undervalued market that's been hyper suppressed over the past 12 months. And now we can start to see the building blocks and the roads that have been outlined or laid out for us. We can start driving vehicles on those roads. And in this analogy, the vehicles are assets like XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, and everything that we've been outlining. Now, let's get into some other topics as well, because I wanted to play a quick video. Sorry, I wanted to dive into a little bit of data here, going over the global crypto inflows for 2025 and how that compares to what we saw back in 2024. All we're going to see over these next couple of years is more institutions buying digital assets. That starts with Bitcoin, and it probably ends with some of these other altcoins that sit outside the top 20. But for the remainder of the digital asset market going forward, somebody asked me a question. Can we do a GEC south from Venezuela? I'm moving. Shout out to Gordon Beckett. We can talk about the oil situation if that's what you were getting at, my friend. We can definitely talk about how there's been a decrease in the oil price after we seized nearly $17 trillion worth of oil from Venezuela when the Maduro regime collapsed. Now, what's really interesting is there's a lot of Venezuelan refugees all throughout the United States. Sounds like Venezuela is back in action. Congratulations to those people. Hopefully, better leadership comes in. Now, let's get into the information that I was going to talk about here. Global crypto inflows hit $47 billion in 2025, almost beating 2024. Now, XRP had $3.7 billion worth of inflows, holding strong with institutional demand surging. This is up 500% from the 2024 numbers, which only had $608 million worth of inflows. So XRP went from $608 million to $3.7 billion US dollars worth of inflows. Bitcoin had about 27 billion, which was down about 35%. We also had Ethereum, which was up 138% year over year, bringing in about $13 billion worth of inflows. Now, this user commented, the battle is on. 2026 is ours to take. Where do you believe XRP finishes on this list, guys? We are already 18 minutes into the episode. We got 3,500 live listeners here. If you're enjoying this content, show us some love, smash that like button. The goal for today, can we pass 700 likes on the episode? We're well on our way to 500. We just passed 459 likes. Massive thank you and shout out to each and every single one of you. Now, something else we need to start paying attention to, guys. The 4-year cycle is officially dead. And that will work in favor of altcoin investors here because we never got an alt season in 2025. And if the 4-year cycle was intact, we would have absolutely got a new all-time high for Bitcoin that would have rolled over that liquidity into these altcoins, and we would have saw explosive price movement all across the board. Well, this is a really interesting list that was put out earlier today by this person called Ncash on Twitter. So go and check out his account. He does some pretty great work. Nick, the Crypto Crusader is his name. He said, I'm making my 2026 predictions public. Let's see how many I can get right by the end of the year. Guys, let me know if you agree with these. One's in chat if you agree. Two's in chat if you disagree. I'm just going to read off a couple of the highlights from this list. Number one, Ripple acquiring MoonPay. That's really interesting because that's where former CFTC chairman Caroline Pham left the CFTC and is working at MoonPay today. We also have Ripple receiving full approval of their banking license. I think that will definitely happen. XRP hitting $5+. I fall into the camp that will happen. One's in chat for yes, $5 XRP. Two's in chat if you think it does not happen in 2026. RLUSD hits a $3 billion valuation on chain. Now, right now, I believe we're sitting at $1 billion. That's another $2 billion in inflows. Very reasonable goal. He said H-bar hits $1. That is one I'm not sure I agree on. I'm going to be keeping an eye on 75-cent H-bar, guys, maybe 65-cent H-bar. I think those would be massive wins for the industry. Ripple launching the XRP-based institutional DeFi, real-world assets on chain hitting $50 billion plus, with Hedera, Stellar, and XRP having over $1 billion each. XRP ETFs reaching over $5 billion in assets under management. And this is a big one, BlackRock filing for an XRP-based ETF. Now, that's something Jake's been talking about, and that's something we've heard BlackRock kind of reference several times. When Larry Fink went on Charlie Gasparino's show on Fox Business and said, we can't comment on an XRP ETF. Brad Garlinghouse then follows that up by saying, we think it makes sense for the XRP community overall. But as you guys can tell, XRP having big momentum this morning, making waves. We are looking at a $2.19 XRP. Do you guys believe we reach a $3 XRP in the month of January? One's in chat for yes, two's in chat for no. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. And once again, I think that technical analysis video that we opened it up with, this is the important data that I'm keeping an eye on. The ISM correlating with the XRP price chart and giving us that altcoin momentum that we've been waiting for. I'm not talking about, a steady increase up and to the right, watching XRP grind higher. I'm talking about massive momentum that makes this project overvalued, where veteran investors can decide to take profit, and hopefully they're taking some profit in the Roth IRA product that we offer through ITrust, because then you can take advantage of those gains tax-free in your Roth IRA. And if you click on the link below this video, you get $100 to kick off your account right from Johnny Krypto, as I like to say. So if you're not taking advantage of tax-free crypto gains, you may want to click on the link below and learn more about that through ITrust. With that being said, let's get into this one more time.
Starts expanding sometime into this year. What's XRP going to do? Because last time we got expansion, and by the way, if you're thinking of, well, when did QT end last cycle? It was back here, right? End of August or end of July 2019. We got continued kind of compression on the PMI, and then boom, there's the PMI right here. There's XRP, there's COVID, and then there's XRP's bull market with the expansion. You can just see XRP got the bull market with expansion, but it failed to break the previous all-time.
So I just want to comment on this, and then we'll let the remainder of the clip play where he gets into those targets once again. The XRP price chart back in 2021 was a disaster. Let me just remind you guys, if you weren't here, we were being sued by the SEC. We went from 70 cents in November down to only 17.5 cents in January. There was nothing positive going for Ripple at the time because it was alleged that they were selling an unregistered security, and they began delisting XRP from exchanges. And even through all that adversity, we watched this asset do an 11x, going from 17 cents to $1.90 on some exchanges. And like he says, we didn't have enough momentum to break the all-time high. But I showed this correlation over the last couple of years, guys. If XRP had started its bull market at the 70-cent high that was created in November, I believe we would have broken our all-time highs and probably broken out into price discovery back in 2021. But because the SEC sued Ripple and because the XRP asset was delisted off exchanges, basically kicked out of the United States, there was just a couple, maybe Uphold and Kraken, who kept it up. We weren't able to get that euphoric momentum, and we weren't able to get massive speculation. This time around, the tides are totally different. XRP's on every exchange. The court case is over. They're working with the government. They've got a stablecoin. Every narrative that we need to drive price action here in 2026 is working in favor of the XRP community now. So I just wanted to highlight the major difference. We were able to do an 11x even through all that disaster and adversity. Now all that adversity is behind us. Imagine what could happen if the ISM and the business cycle starts printing bullish candles. We could easily see a $5 XRP based on previous cycles, but I'll let this play and we'll talk more about it.
Even still, I mean, I know XRP has tested that area. We've not really seen XRP break the all-time high from all the way back here in 2018. We get expansion, everybody. I just think XRP is going to do something really special. And I say that as being somebody that's not even holding XRP. And when I say special, first cycle 1618 is a target of mine, $5.30. The third cycle higher high is at $8.36. I just think the
$5.30 and then $8.36, guys. I asked you before, do you think this is possible? Throw a 1 in chat. And I do want to give a massive thank you to the Shadow 1776. It's great to see my friend back again here. He said the best is yet to come. It is the 250th anniversary of the United States, as I'm reminded from your username. Exciting time to be in crypto. And massive thank you for that donation, my friend, as always, guys. But what I was getting at here is I want to hear from you guys. Does this meet your expectations? If XRP went to $5 or $8, would that satisfy your investment? Or would you be frustrated by that? Are you here waiting for way higher price targets? I think it's kind of a two-tiered question, but let's let the last 15 seconds play. One's in chat if you would be satisfied with an $8 XRP. Two's in chat if you think that wouldn't be enough for you and for your goals. I'm going to let this play and then we'll address those results.
Numbers are just so very realistically in play for XRP. When I say special, first cycle 1618 is a target of mine, $5.30. The third cycle higher high is at 836. I just think those numbers are just so very realistically in play for XRP. And right now it's sitting at around 214. But it's really this business cycle that we're getting ready to go into that I think is interesting for the XRP story.
Absolutely, guys. So I think it's pretty obvious. There's a lot of twos in chat. I was a little bit surprised by those results. But again, I'm somebody who, yes, I'm waiting for that $5, $8 XRP because I want to lock in some profits. I've been in this market since 2019. I've really never taken major profit on XRP, couple thousand here, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm waiting for these massive euphoric waves of liquidity to hit the market. And you guys can see the indicators as well. The RSI on XRP, extremely low. The MACD on XRP, extremely low. And Clinton, if you're out there listening, he's been doing some phenomenal work on Bitcoin dominance as well. Bitcoin dominance looks like it's peaking out. And what happens when Bitcoin dominance turns over? Altcoins go euphoric. And I covered this during yesterday's video. I wanted to make sure I touched on it just one more time. The falling wedge is a reversal pattern and a retracement for 360 is coming for XRP. That's what that's what the All In Crypto podcast had to say on Twitter. And he even followed this up with another chart this morning I wanted to incorporate into today's show. So this is the one that we covered yesterday. This is what he thinks we're on the precipice of. And that would correlate to about an $8 XRP. So time and time again, $8 on the Fibonacci's, $8 on the wedge breakout, $8 on all these different. I would be more than satisfied if we were able to lock in an $8 XRP here in 2025 and enjoy the gains, right? I want to see some positivity. I want to see some future looks bright kind of momentum back in the XRP community. People are so down in the dumps about the performance of the price action in 2025, and rightfully so, especially if you thought we were going to hit these ridiculous price targets, right? Sitting here at $2, at $3, we've been here for a year, but I remember just 18 months ago, we were trading at 50 cents for 3.5 years. So we are in a different era. Just remind yourself of that. There's a lot less adversity. There's way more working for us. And I think it's much easier to be an XRP investor now than it was a year ago or even a year and a half ago. And this is some data to kind of double down on that. XRP's ETF volume is on fire today, according to the XRP Investor. This is our friend Mario's account, guys. So go and check this out. The XRP Investor _ on Twitter. He has 52 followers now. Let's get him over 100 followers. Shout out to our friend Mar-a-Lago Mario. But what he's highlighting here, $21.5 million in volume in just under 2 hours. And I meant to pull this up. Let's actually track this data. What is it? XP Markets, I believe. Here we go. So we're going to pull up the live ETF data for you guys because I meant to pull this up before the show, so I'll just do it right now. We're looking at the spot volume sitting at $35 million. It's 12 p.m. There's 4 hours left in the trading day. It looks like we're going to pass $50 million once again. And this is great news because all we're seeing right now is positioning from the long-term investors. And what did Matt Hogan say when he joined us for an interview? Guys, I am so happy Tim Waltz is gone. There's a lot of Tim Waltz chat out there. Tim Waltz, see you never, my friend. And it is the XRP Investor on X. Guys, go check it out. The XRP Investor on X. Let's see if we can get Mario over a few hundred followers. And I did want to let you guys know, later on today, we are going to be doing a video talking about why market cap, quote unquote, doesn't matter. And it's going to reference this tweet right here. So if you're excited about that, throw a 1 in chat. We love and appreciate you guys. We are over 1,700 listeners on YouTube. We got 4,500 listeners watching overall. If you're enjoying this content, show us some love. Smash that like button. We did just hit the 30-minute mark. And I want to give a special thank you and shout out to the best community in all of crypto. We're already at 627 likes for today. The goal was 700. And I wanted to kind of give you guys a little laugh. I found this video on TikTok. I thought it was funny. And I said, when somebody asks me, when are you going to start covering meme coins? This is my response.
I will never meet with them. I will never talk with them. I will never talk with someone who works with them. I will never talk with someone who talks with someone who works for them. I'm never going to get the call because I'm never going to pick up the phone. I am here to represent America first. And it's not out of hatred of anyone. It is out of an unapologetic, unwavering love for each and every one of you.
I love that video, guys. I just think it's so funny. If you guys are enjoying this content, smash that like button. There'll never be meme coins covered here. And here's the truth. When you think about where we are in the crypto space, let's just be honest about the entire transition. We can be pissed off and agitated about the price action, guys, but nothing has changed in the grand scheme of things. When we look at what's happening in the crypto market, it is obvious that by the end of Trump's administration, these asset prices are going to be higher. I think everybody agrees on that. I think the thing that we disagree on is how much higher the prices will be. If you have the patience, if you understand what you hold, you're not going to be scared out of this market. And this is another alt season indicator I wanted to share on today's episode. This user said, you are not ready. Other altcoins have been stuck under this trend line for more than 3 years against Bitcoin. I want to give a shout out to Clinton. I'm sure he knows this as well. Right now, it's preparing to break out. Tomorrow, which means today, the ISM numbers could be well over 50, signaling a market expansion. This is traditionally the environment in which altcoins thrive. And what are we seeing right now? Not only is Bitcoin thriving, the altcoin market is thriving. We are looking at we are looking at Ethereum at $3,200. We got XRP at $2.19. That is up 18% for XRP in just the last 7 days. We're up about another 5% on the 24-hour. I couldn't be more excited. I think today was a great episode. I think it's great to kind of see the excitement from retail investors once again. If you guys enjoyed this content, show us some love. Smash that like button. Someone said, Abs, I need my blue wrench back. I've been blackballed. We will get you your wrench back. Absolutely. We'll do that today, guys. So if you enjoyed today's content, let us know underneath the video. What is your 2026 price prediction for XRP? We love you guys. We appreciate you all. And we'll see you all in the next.
I'm going to be so proud of you, President, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn it around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. See, the bottom line is...
So if you're looking to implement the same strategies that we do here on Good Evening Crypto, I would encourage all of our listeners to click on the Merlin link below and sign up for ITrust Capital as well. Now, why are our listeners going to do this? By leveraging the Merlin application, you can create a profit plan for yourself so you know exactly where you're going to be exiting this market. But leveraging ITrust through a Roth IRA product, you can take advantage of tax-free crypto gains during this crypto bull market. So I would encourage everybody, click on the link down below, sign up for ITrust today, and take advantage of our $100 free sign-up bonus.
About that over there on Good Evening Crypto with Abs and Johnny, if you guys want to go watch that one.
Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
But the challenge, as you know well, is the U.S. has had this very hostile. The Biden administration has been waging a war on